Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome everyone to the show. We are happy to be here once again with my co-host Lynda Tilley. Lynda, welcome.
Hi
Lynda,
there.
hi.
How's everybody tonight?
I'm ready for the show.
Hi, Kato. Hi, Precious. Hey.
Welcome, Lynda, and welcome, Precious Ebenezer. Yeah, tonight we are having a continuation.
Yes, good to see you.
Good to see everyone. My name is Kato Mukasa, your host with my co-host Lynda Tilley, based in South Africa. And our guest tonight is none other than author and researcher, Precious Ebenezer Heru, who is based in Nigeria and is an author of several works, including the most recent one, book, which has been doing rounds, and we should be able to get a copy of the book. The book is The Untold History of the Black Race and the Fall of African Civilization. The book is authored by Precious Heru, and you'll be able to get these copies wherever you are and be able to read much of what he has written and get to know the history that we didn't study in our schools. Now, today we're going to be looking at that history as a continuation of what we looked at the previous engagement we had with Heru here. And my co-host Lynda will be helping us to find that niche as we do this discussion. So, Lynda, I'm going to welcome you to welcome Precious Heru and usher him into the show. Welcome, everyone. Lynda, over to you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome, Precious. It's good to have you. Okay. Can you hear me? Precious just went off, but we are expecting a scrambled feed stop us from broadcasting live stuff sometimes. So don't worry. If Precious goes off, he will come back as soon as he can, and we'll just fill for him in the meantime. So welcome from Nigeria, and Kato, thank you for you in your secretive location in exile. So it's good to have you all here tonight with us again. We had an amazing response to last week's show with Ebenezer, and he created such a wave that he even had his Facebook page removed this week because he's gaining so much attention from the truth that he's speaking. So we are very pleased. Of course, we have backup plans, and he has a lot of support across Africa and around the world as well. So we're very pleased to host him on the show again tonight, and we thank you all for watching. We have our biggest number of viewers from after Nigeria, it's Ethiopia and Madagascar of all places. So we just warmly welcome you, South Sudan as well. Thank you guys so much. It's lovely to see all the different countries that are watching us, and especially Madagascar, because we don't communicate with you much. I often wonder whether Madagascar's been hauled off by the British and put into the British Museum, because we don't even know that you guys are there. So please connect with us on the group as well. And to all the other countries, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Botswana, Mozambique, we've just been watched all over, and I thank you so much for that. And to Precious for
Your network is getting scrambled, Lynda. Your network is getting scrambled. I can't hear you.
A truth that you have been sharing with us now. And the Eve advert on the right. Are we back again?
Yes, Linda, you had the scrambled network. I couldn't hear you properly. Some words were getting cracked, but now I
Okay,
can hear you.
we're going to be advertising. We'll have it up on the screen throughout the show. We'll be putting the information for how people can order Precious's book, and the ebook will be available soon. There will be the details there. We will also put the details on our Call to Activism Facebook page, and I'll put it on my own page as well. So during the week, if you're watching this and you'd like to know how to order copies of the book, you can actually just contact through that. I think we should perhaps start, Kato, because I know that we might have cuts from Nigeria and everything in the dark because the resources are looted by the lawless government. So we're lucky to have light tonight to actually be able to speak to Precious. So let's just start. Welcome, my friend, our African king, our Nigerian king with all his truths.
Yeah, Linda, thank you so much. We are welcoming Precious once again on the show. We know we have challenges of power. I can tell you that in Uganda this week, the whole country got into darkness, was plunged into darkness. The entire country was paralyzed. It shows you how inefficient we are with our regimes.
South Africa as well. We have it in South Africa too.
Yeah, we are in Africa. Lack of power when we have basically the waters that make this electricity, and we're able even to sell it abroad. So, but that said, Precious, welcome. This is your time. Please give us that lesson. You're looking at African history and civilization. This is part 2, and we are basing it on your book, which we want people to get to know and to buy and support the work you do, but also to learn the history that we missed in our schools. Welcome, Precious. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. I think you have muted yourself. Linda, can you hear Precious?
Yeah.
Linda, can you hear Precious?
Yeah.
Okay. We seem to have lost Kato and Ebenezer.
No, you lost me?
It's interesting, just talking about this electricity issue. I'll just talk until they come back again. We've actually, there they go, you're back again. Oh, Ebenezer's gone off. We are expecting the scrambling from Nigeria. It's just typical of what they get up to do. Oh, there we go, it's back again. Okay.
Linda, I have to ask you again. I can see all of you. I don't know whether you can see me. I can see all of you. My only challenge is that I cannot hear what Precious is saying. I simply don't hear what Precious is saying, but I can see all of you. Yes, you can hear me. Precious, I can't hear you personally. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Last time, power shut, and I apologize for that surrounded last program, and I'm sorry. So, the thing that we are looking at the African or this or we have put a lot of lies down from like that black man just not just for and many of us have accepted such lies and we have praised the life that is what black but black is what black on lie. What is like or so that's about what normal uh normal common balance that is not can find at that stage of social and cultural development of that is advanced based on this, decision or based on this condition of civilization, common balance. I would say that it's an unforgettable historical for Europeans to say that Africa had like Africans have already started smelting around 1500, and Europeans then were in their cave hunting animals survivor. These are historical records, they are all there. What about in Nigeria here where I am? We have enough culture. Enough culture. These are society in West African states. And they get their human sculpture, terracottas. These are high civilization. Black man civilized, but yet the black man have already started the medicine, the science of medicine, the science of astronomy 2,000 years before Christ, the science of medicine. We have started. We had different papyri, medical papyri. We had different kind of medical papyri that contains medical process in Africa to build authority cure. All these things recorded in our test of in our test. What they teach us in our class, history, colonialism, that things that forget us, to dominate us, to brainwash us, and to condition us that white gave us life, and that's why not just a way to dehumanize the being, a particular group of people that themselves as not early Europeans came, or let me just take it down to the 15th century or the mid 18th century, the middle of the 15th century. The Europeans, when they came, they saw the pyramid, they saw the Sphinx. What they did, they said that these people we see as the seeds of this world are actually the masters of our art and science. They were all startled by civilizations in Africa. Africans have already started the process of gynecology 10,000 years before there was a place called Europe. Okay, what about the aspect of politics and government? Let us look at the political setting in Nigeria. Look at the pre-colonial political setting in Nigeria. You will come to understand that the African man have already established a strong political system, a strong system that it may not be called separation of power, it may not be called democracy in our own local dialect, but these were already practiced for Greek practice democracy. It was first practiced in Athens, in Greece. These are all kind of white propaganda in our educational system, because the educational system was used by the white people to improve on their white ideology. It's not like I am condemning white people. It's not like I am saying that white people are bad, but let me clear their ancestors started the foundation of kind of thing that we see. The political system, let me use my country here, Nigeria, for example. Let me say with the Yoruba system. Yorubas already had a strong political system, and they played the Oyo Oyo Empire, whereby they have what was separation of powers. We have the Alaafin, we have the Oyo Mesi, we have the Ogoni court. These are different institutions that power is was constitutionalized. The Alaafin is like the executive arm of government. The Oyo Mesi is like the legislative arm that makes king. The Ogoni court is like the spiritual judge. What about people the people in Nigeria? Igbos already had a strong political system that was working for them called Oduga, the indirect political system. That's indirect colonial policy. But people are rebellious people. Now, when I say rebellious people, it's not the negative aspect, but the positive aspect, but not the way you try to say that particular tribe is more than a particular tribe. All tribes in Africa are equal, but we are one articular. So Igbos already had a strong political system which they called village democracy. It's like a direct form of democracy whereby the people directly participate in the political process. They don't elect people to represent them in the parliament or in the government. They participate directly. This is the direct democracy that we practice in Africa. What they say that Athenian authority, Athenians practice democracy for Africa. The Hausa system also there when they directly because of that introduced the colonial policy of directory in Nigeria. The Hausa already had what's called Hausa emirate, whereby we have the emir as the head, and we have other political structures. But the Hausa system was a centralized system, whereby power is centralized in one particular authority. Then we have the Yoruba system. Yoruba system is a centralized system, whereby power is shared. And then we have the Igbo system. The Igbo system, which I describe as village democracy, where different groups have political power. The most senior of among the families of Igbo land was called the Okara, and he's the one that heads many of the things, but he doesn't have the final say in everything because we have different groups. We have the age group, we have the Umada, we have other form of groups. These groups are the village democracy. So what is happening? What are the Europeans saying that Africans do not have a political system? We had breakthroughs in astronomy. In astronomy, around 3,000 BC, Africans have already started studying the movement of the stars and the moon. Through that way, they created the first calendar called the solar calendar. It's black man about this. Black man about this, but they are anti-cares. They are the anti-cares that will destroy the white supremacy ideology. What is white supremacy ideology? Africa must remain poor so that Europeans will be rich. Africans must remain useless so that Europeans will be useful. Because the processes that led to the underdevelopment of Africa are still the same processes that are facilitating the growth and development of America and Asia. So you see, they all come to Africa to suck, to take, and keep us in the state of like, as they say, we are the keys of this world. So that, you know, a Chinese man cannot beat in America. You cannot beat a Chinese man. You cannot beat a Chinese man. You can't beat him. But a black man will beat you for you. One that has no value, right? Because people have failed to be like this of Africans. I want to also make an important point. A lot of people think that the Mesopotamian civilization far ahead of the Egyptian civilization. All know that all humans on earth are black. But they started migrating and refugees the Ice Age, different aspects, especially in Europe. Don't know about the first emperor of China was a black man. They speak that in African school. They speak it here in my state. They speak it in Abuja, my capital. They speak it in all the universities in Nigeria. They speak it in all the universities in India, in South Africa. That's why that government is not held to the hands of their former Christian masters. Our that's why I am okay.
Precious, I intervene a little. If you can hear me, can you please hear me? Precious, if you can hear me, we can't hear you, and I do believe it's because of the internet connection. We can't hear you, Precious. Please, may you try to adjust your microphone May you try to adjust your gadget, maybe put it much closer, maybe so that we can be able to get your voice projected into the gadget you are using. We can't hear you properly. The words are breaking up, yet they are very important for everyone to hear. Please try to maybe get closer to your gadget, but also speak a bit directly into the microphone of your gadget so that we can be able to hear you. Can you please continue?
Sorry that that I my right that so can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We have had challenges with connectivity, but again, it's the audio now with Precious. All of you may or will forgive us in one or another. We have challenges with our connectivity. We have challenges.
Okay, well, Precious has gone off.
Yes.
Probably he will now be able to read his messages. I've just sent him messages on WhatsApp to tell him what the problem is. Obviously, he won't check his phone while he's live. So we'll just see.
Yes, Linda, as we wait for him to adjust, we can continue with the show. We have lots of issues we can share with our audience as we wait for Precious Heru to come in. Precious was talking about the government or the governance system in Africa pre-conquest or pre the invasion that brought in the so-called civilization, which was already here. Was talking about a centralized system of governance that existed in many parts of Africa, but also a decentralized one. He was talking about that, and I was picking a bit of what he was saying. I just want to emphasize that indeed, it is quite evident that many kingdoms that existed in Africa, Africa had over 100 kingdoms, Linda. Africa had over 100 kingdoms, and strong kingdoms that were equally as organized as the kingdoms in Europe, that were equally as organized as the English system or kingdom. So it's not alien to Africa as a continent to have a leadership that was African, a leadership that respected constitutionalism, even when it was not written constitutionalism. We talked about in the history we have been researching of kingdoms like Buganda Kingdom in East Africa, in Uganda, where we have a kingdom that had a rukiko, which is an equivalent or the same meaning with the parliament in the UK. And you see a kingdom in Uganda pre the coming of the colonizers having a parliament, having a king being one, the overseer, being the spiritual leader, but also the cultural leader and also the political leader. And this is only one case study. But even when you go to where you are from, Linda, in Zimbabwe, and look at the history, when you go to South Africa, where you are today, and you look at Shaka Zulu and others even before Shaka Zulu, you realize that kingdoms in Africa, we even had empires in Africa. We had chiefdoms in Africa. That these kingdoms, these empires, kingdoms turning into empires, going to conquer others and putting their administration structures there, existed with clear ways.
Kato, we lost you there.
Sorry?
We lost you completely, but you're back again now.
You lost me completely. Wow.
No sound, no picture, but only for a little while. It's fine.
There was no picture, yet I can see myself here.
No, but you could see me, okay. Maybe it's my side, but it's fine.
I can see you. Were you hearing what I was saying? Maybe I can repeat.
I can see you now. Yes, I can hear you. Just talking about the kingdoms.
Yes, I was talking about Africa before 1800. I'm talking about Africa of the 1500, 1600. I'm talking about Africa that was basically organized. People are not in bushes. People were in their own homesteads. People had clear agricultural systems. People had a clear education system, which was informal. The round table discussion, the round fire discussion, and teaching. There was a clear way of passing information from the children to other children, from elders to parents. The classes of society where elders were highly respected. Being old was golden, unlike today. Someone with gray hair was highly respected in our societies because that person was a source of history. That person was a source of wisdom. That person was a source of harmony and an arbiter. They used to get the elders in the societies to decide cases because we had our own court systems. Today, Nigeria has a semblance of what used to be in much of Africa in the 1500, 1600, that even today in some tribes in Nigeria, their clan leaders with the red hats have been watching. They simply sit even today and decide on a few things. But that was Africa before. The way a village could be organized, the way a community could be organized to decide on matters of importance. How do we clear our road? We had roads. How do we clear? How do we organize our wells, our sources of water? How do we assure that we have peaceful transfer of power within the community, within the society, within the kingdom, within the chiefdom? There are norms and customs and cultural practices that were highly respected in many of these kingdoms across Africa. So when you talk about African history, we are not talking about Kemetic history alone, even when Kemetic history goes beyond the current Egypt. People will be surprised to understand that Kemet of the 1500 went as far as the Congo, covered the entire West Africa. That was Kemet, covered the present-day Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Morocco, that strip. That was Kemet. Kemet was as big as that. And it's erroneous for some people to think that actually Kemet simply means Egypt. Kemet was beyond. That's why you can see the pyramids in Sudan today. Whereas they are in Egypt, they can also be seen in Sudan. So you need to ask yourself, how come we even see them down here towards East Africa? So Kemet was as big as that. Thank you, Todd Mayer, for following us and giving us that feedback. So what we want people to realize is the history they are not being taught. We went to school, me and you, Linda, we went to school in Africa, and we are not taught this history. We're not taught the history before the so-called civilization that was brought by those who wrote our history. We are never taught about how people used to do their agriculture, how people used to trade, that even they have their own means of exchange. The shells that used to work as money of today, the barter trade system, where people could cross villages, could cross counties, could cross kingdoms and trade in salt, and trade in gold, and trade in ivory, and trade in backcloth, and trade in so many other things, including animals. There was trade. So it's erroneous for anyone to paint a picture that Africa was a dark continent. That is someone who's writing your history telling you it's a dark continent. It was never a dark continent. And precisely as Precious puts it in his wonderful book, Kemet, and I'm repeating, Kemet was not Egypt of today, was beyond Egypt. The knowledge that we talk about Kemetic knowledge is beyond the Egypt we see today. Egypt is just a simple place that everything maybe was centered, but it went across the Egypt we know of today. So when we talk about that history, we talk about the education system that people in ancient Rome came and learned from Africa. It's that history that we are not being taught. We are being told that others came and educated us. Yet the history tells us that actually we were educated in the world. That we had the Moors who moved from Africa and went and colonized. I mean, maybe not use the word colonized because it's much bigger, and occupied much of the present-day Spain and maybe part of Portugal and other countries. So this is what Heru is putting in his works. And this is brilliant history. We need to understand the history that we missed so that we can inform our present and we can shape the future. We need to know the scientific discoveries that were ongoing in Africa, that we need to understand what did we lose, and then how do we recover this kind of progress. Heru, you are welcome again. I was trying to fill in the gaps because you went off. Now that we are back, I will hand over to you.
I don't like it, but can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay. So the something I not get that that's the word. I said that political system where the political power were constitutionalized. That's to say they are not recognized by law that they are an institution that will carry out this kind of political function on their people. So I don't know if maybe not get said here because I overheard something of probably I did not use the right word that you expected. Is there anything like that? So I've gotten my what I am really talking about. So so Africans we already had empires. We had the Ghana Empire, we have the Songhai Empire, we have the even the old Oyo Empire. Like we had civilizations for their country. So my emphasis is based on the assertion that Africans are uncivilized until Europeans came. That's where that is the beginning of it. Let us look at it. If we have to first of all address that very well by telling Africans that this is an erroneous statement, that there was a civilization in Africa before they came, and these are the things I am trying to was stressed out for you. Yes. Now the other issue that I was trying to discuss was the aspect of astronomy. They they made us believe in that the Mesopotamian civilization is far ahead of the African civilization. The recent thing that archaeologists discovered in Mesopotamia was 2,600 years old. The one that have been discovered, the oldest dynasty based on archaeological calculation is 2,100. Africans have already started the process of astronomy. That was where Africans got the first calendar. Africa gave the world the first calendar. But if you get a youth in Kenya, if you get a student from South Africa and you ask them the first calendar, they will be taking you to Rome, they will be taking you to Europe, but they cannot take you to Africa. That Africans, their ancestors, have been studying the movement of the stars and the moon. Africans had the first calendar called the Egyptian calendar, which is also called the solar calendar. That's 365 days. I think that we need our African people to understand that these things are already in Africa, but it might be in a way that we have seen as advanced. Remember, I said that civilization is the stage of human socio-cultural development that is seen as advanced. At that stage, the Africans have already seen it as advanced, and based on recent research, discovered that the African civilization predates every other civilization, including the Mesopotamian civilization, and all the gods that they call the Anunnaki or whatever they call them. But the fact stands that there was Osiris before Enki. When I say Enki, I'm talking about the Anunnaki god. There was Ra or Amen Ra before Anu. So to understand that we have civilization, we have folklore, we have mythology, we have spirituality. I don't want to use the word religion. These things are already established there. What about the aspect of I was talking about the aspect of medicine. The oldest medical papyri was discovered here in Africa. When the Europeans they came, they started buying these papyri, these medical papyri done in Mali. They started buying them. They changed their name to Ebenezer papyrus. They changed their name to the Ebers papyrus. They have different papyrus of Africa that they have changed their name. And these are the medical papyri they are using their medicine in Europe and America. But even as they destroyed our civilization, all our papyri, even as they destroyed them, we still have some of them in their fragmented state to prove that there were a medical papyri that deals with plant parenthood, to prove that there were medical papyri that deals with surgery, to prove that Africans have already started treating the issue of diarrhea 3,000 years before Rome. That as I said last time, our people are mentally brainwashed. Recently, I started facing some kind of attack, like from my own black brothers. Started facing some kind of attack and started threatening me that they are the soldiers of Christ. Started putting inside of me a phobia of death, whereby I'll be walking on the road and I'll be scared if I want to shot or if I want to shoot. But that my mental health just that I will not allow that to happen. Because the only people that will stop us from our black brothers, they are the only ones that will stop us, and the government. So Africans, we have civilization, and to save time, I've mentioned some of them. In the aspect of politics, you have seen that very well. What about the aspect of smelting steel in Tanzania? In Tanzania, they discovered that the Africans have already smelting steel 1500. Just like you said last time in Uganda, the Syrian section. Why are they not teaching the African medical students in Africa that Imhotep, a black man? I know we have been repeating Imhotep, but the fact is that there are people who still don't know who is Imhotep, and they are African people, but they know more of European Columbus and Julius Caesar and the Alexandra, but they don't know much of a man called Imhotep in the medicine. In medicine, Imhotep, in the science of medicine, rather, Imhotep have already built every of the Greek philosophers that came to Africa, every of them that came to Africa, they had in their hands laws of how they would behave and comport themselves. It took them over 200 years before they can find their way into Africa, precisely starting from. Because the civilization in Africa, I know you were making emphasis on that beyond or Kemet beyond what the you were trying to say something about but I know that you were trying to make emphasis on the fact that Egypt is not the only civilized place in Africa, which is true. We have in Ethiopia, there was a civilization in Ethiopia. We had a civilization in Mali, the Empire of Mali had a great figure named Mansa Musa, whose wealth is calculated according to present statistics over 400 billion, richer than the current richest man in the world today. Have they talked about the Abubakari that sailed all the way from Mali, from Africa? He sailed to the Americans. He went to the American soil and he was there. They approve of it. There are evidence there, but the point is that they will not just all these things, but to them will only destroy their ideology. And what is their ideology? That without the white man, the black man cannot go. Or the African man, let me don't put some of it. Because there's something I want to correct. It's not using the word black man. They are African. Now, we have white Europeans. Call them Europeans because in Europe we have black Europeans. We have black Europeans. In Britain we have black Britain. Over 1 million persons, I think, are black. Over 1 million blacks are are native to Britain. So just for better impression, what the Africans, they are all Africans. There's no black Africans, there's no white Africans. They are all Africans. So the thing is that if they can teach us more about empires, the Kanuri Empire in Nigeria, they can teach us about the Oyo Empire, the high level of civilization that was there. They can teach us about the Ghana Empire, the Shonga Empire, the Ethiopian dynasty. If they can teach the black African, or let me say the African, if they can teach the African these things, I think it will build on his past to better his present in order to have better future. But where the African doesn't know all of these things, his mind will be conditioned to believe that his ancestors are weak people. We are not descendants from any people. We are not descendants from any people. And this is what we must pray. So I will keep my words here. And like about that for I have something. I can hear you.
Thank you very much. That was very important to note. We have enjoyed it. And of course, we are going to be inviting you more to add more information on what you have shared. Lynda, and of course, Heru, and those who are watching this show, the importance of sharing this knowledge is to create awareness. We are here to create awareness to ensure that the children that are studying across the globe get to know facts the way they should be taught. It's important that we create this balance and fair history is taught to students because psychologically, Lynda, me and you know that our conscious and subconscious attracts what it is fed into it. When someone grows up knowing that they can mount to nothing, they are going to remain with that kind of thinking that they can mount to nothing. They can't do anything in life. They have a poor history. They have a poor ancestry. They are simply there to beg. They are simply there to wait for anyone else apart from them to provide. They can't come up with something good. They must always wait for someone else to give them the technology, to give them the medicine, to give them even the basics, to teach them how to be better farmers. Why? Because it has been fed into your subconscious that you can mount to nothing. You can come to nothing because you have a shaky, unknown, fake history. So it's important that all children are taught history in the proper context, because the lessons we learn in schools affect us mentally and keep some people thinking that they can't do much. It keeps some students knowing that they must look up to something developmental elsewhere. This is, to my understanding, a disservice to many students in Africa. When you teach history and you teach it to an American student and you teach them that Columbus discovered America, and you don't teach them the proper history that actually the Red Indians, that people from Africa discovered America well before Columbus allegedly discovered it, you will be diverting the subconscious of these students. They will know that, look, everyone else is below a certain class of people. They will not appreciate that basically each one in America contributed to the greatness of that country, of those states, that it was a combination of Red Indians, blacks, whites, name them, that actually built America. So history is important. That's why you see that in America or USA today, they put the history right. At least they even put the day right. They used to have a Columbus Day until when people said, no, it's a lie. So this is why we want this history to be known to African students. And it doesn't matter, because Lynda, you are an African, as me, as an Indian who is born in Africa, who has been studying in Africa. All of us studied the same thing. We all taught the facts as they are. And it's important for an African student to know that, look, Imhotep was a great scientist than a man we say who was the father of modern medicine. That actually the father of modern medicine studied from Imhotep. That actually Imhotep was able to heal over 200 diseases. So we need to challenge the African child to think beyond what has been conditioned to believe, to begin going back to the basics and know, look, how did Imhotep manage to heal diseases, manage to heal the kings, the pharaohs of the time? Because it was coming from the royal family, because it was part of the family, and was able to treat rare diseases within the family in the Kemetic history. How come that this black man was able to do these wonders? People need to know, how come that these black people, these brown people who were in Kemetic Africa, brown people, black people, because black comes in all shades. It's the black people who can have whites like Lynda, who can have mulattoes, who can have albinos, who can have anything. A black can give you anything, can give you Lynda, can give you a mulatto, can give you an Asian, can give you anything. So people should know that people in Africa did great things. But actually, civilization, as Heru puts it, began right in Africa. And then we ask ourselves, where did we go wrong? How come that people in Africa built pyramids 5,000 years ago? Jesus Christ is only 2,000 years. But pyramids have been there over 5,000 years. Sudan has over 200 pyramids. Pyramids that don't go anywhere. that have withstood the weather, that were magnificently built. Here we are going to come in as I summarize. So this history is important, that we teach it to the students to inspire them. To me, the book of Heru can only do one thing. Precious book can only do one thing: inspire people to start believing in themselves. Tomorrow, when you talk about religion, people must understand where it comes from. So when we get Heru back in another segment on the show, we shall now look at the history of the religion. I want you to prepare that in the next show when we have, not this one, so that we look at the history of religion and see how did African gods contribute to the gods that came to be known in Europe. People should know that actually even the gods that were African gods, gods of Africa, were exported elsewhere and then imported back to Africa. So this history is important because it empowers the children. It empowers the student to know that, look, this is a game being played for supremacy, that subconsciously people are putting other people down through education system. They want you to feel that you have done nothing, that you must expect everything else beyond Africa. Yet, basically, there's much you can do right where you are. I think, basically, Precious, this is the basis of your book. It's inspirational. It brings the facts to the table so that people can know, where do we come from? Why are we here? And where do we go from here? Continue. Over to you, Precious.
Africa is great. Why is Africa? They have had the same time that the best have not been the answer. But I normally make that from count the author for matter that get what it and get what that the process that led and that development of Africa which that facilitated movement. Now here we talk about the reality. The reality. Now, the reality that stage has different stages to apply where it's pure control the policy, the government, social and cultural life of people who are very so when we came for first stage of liberalism driver, slave trade acted as a way to populate Africa. Everybody young men that would have been it as the engine of societal growth and development were taken out of Africa to work in the plantations of Europeans in America. Now the elderly ones were here in Africa. So the strength, the capability to push in development to the next level was stagnated. They intervene in the process of our development for civilization. I think civilization is a continuous process, but there are some certain stage of they see it as a particular stage that they see themselves as advanced based on their human, cultural, and social well-being. So the first process that stagnated our development that kept us where we are today is simply the slave trade era, because millions of Africans, able-bodied young men and women who would have been engine of societal growth and development were taken to work. Now, after the slaves have accomplished their historical mission of building the plantations for the Europeans in America, they brought in the idea of abolition of slavery. Now, the next process is colonialism. And colonialism is where they have to use political power to control the politics of our country and the economy also. It's called the process whereby they use political power to exploit the resources of Africa. In the process of colonialism, they established their European foreign government. Like as I said, in Nigeria, we had the indirect rule. In Senegal, we have the policy of assimilation from the French. We have the policy of paternalism. Now, these are different colonial policies. Now, in this colonialism, they built railways, they constructed roads. It's also in my book, in chapter 4. There is a picture where are Africans are constructing roads for the Europeans. Now, these roads were made to facilitate the exploitation of the resources of that particular African state. So all the railways and all the roads that were built during the colonial era were made to take the resources to Europe. So African economy became a primary producers of goods and services. Only primary. That's to do with produce based on natural resources at that particular level that is not refined. They come, they buy them. They don't even buy, they take it first because they are the ones controlling the politics and the economy of our country or of our community. When they take these resources, they refine it into finished goods and bring it back to us to buy in an exorbitant price. That process has been like that today. That's why some African countries don't have refineries. They continue to send their raw materials because they have been conditioned to be primary producers of goods. So they will take these resources and refine it and bring it back to us to buy in an exorbitant price because the political leaders that took independence or they collected political authority from the former colonial masters to establish their own sovereign state, they were so corrupt, autocratic, and biased. In Nigeria, we had the first Republican or independent politicians. They are the reason why Nigeria is still the way it is today. The first Republican politicians are the reason why Nigeria is backward and poor. The colonial master have already divided Nigeria to be tribalistic. They introduced their regionalism and they used all these ethnic sentiment and ethnic egoism. So the political parties that came into existence during independence were in line with ethnic bias. They were in line with ethnic egoism. There was nothing like national integration. They are following the political step of their former colonial masters that established the policy of divide and rule. That is what is still happening in Nigeria, divide and rule. They use different means to divide us so that they can acquire political power. So what are we saying? Africans must wake up. Now, colonialism was another stage of keeping Africa as our resources are exploited and we became primary producers. It's an underdevelopment factor in the field of political economy. Now, the next stage is neocolonialism. Now, neocolonialism, according to Kwame Nkrumah, is the highest stage of imperialism. Just like as I told you, imperialism has stages. The first stage was slave trade, the second is colonialism, and now I'm explaining the third one, neocolonialism. At this stage, African leaders or Africans have gained independence, but they are not economically independent. They are only independent on the world map, but they are not independent in real matters of the state. Their economy is being controlled by different multinational oil companies owned by the foreign comprando bourgeoisie, who are our former colonial masters. So they sponsor the political leaders to win election, and when they win election, the political leaders make political policies that will make their companies to progress to the detriment of the economy of Africa. A stage whereby a country is tied. They have independence, but they are still tied to their former colonial masters who continue to exploit them and use them as they become stools to the former politics. They use them to make political policies to favor them. I can't mention them, but we know who colonized them, West African states. We know the European countries that colonized West African states. They know that they are still controlling the economy of East African states. A particular European company will pay you 10 million. Imagine if they can pay an indigene or a citizen rather of Nigeria 10 million. How much are they realizing? That is what say they are realizing more than 10 million they are giving to that African man, and the African man will be jumping up thinking that his life will move forward to the next level. He never knew that Africa or a society is made up of people. If one person is bad, that bad character will spread. Except in that, or it will stop. So that's why society gets to regulate our behavior, so that we can bring about a better society. So they have their companies there in Africa. They have their multinational companies in South African states, and they are taking. So this is neo-colonialism that Kwame Nkrumah was emphasizing when he was sponsored to be activated. After he wrote the book Neo-Colonialism, the highest stage of imperialism, the military in Ghana conspired with a foreign power to remove him from power. So if Africa tries to progress, there is always an European force. There is always a superpower somewhere that will try to carry out a propaganda. Maybe they will say the leader is a dictator, as they did to Gaddafi, as they did to this man in Uganda, Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe. They say they are tyrants, they are dictators, but there are other ones. Any African that is a leader that is not being disturbed by a superpower or by a foreign power, check close that African leader serves the interest of former colonial masters. So neo-colonialism is this stage that we are. The next stage that we can see is gradually coming up is globalization. Globalization is the last stage of imperialism. They tell us that we open our economy, we liberalize our economy for foreign capital to be exported, or sorry, to be imported into it. The essence of this foreign capital is not to bring development to this African society, but to exploit their resources. They know that Africans, we have the manpower, we have the natural resources. If we have these resources, it means we have cheap labor. Now the cheap labor will be able to be used perfectly well to carry out the production activity of colonial companies. So they tell us that in this stage of globalization, that we can use globalization to send money. Through the process of globalization, we have been able to send money to other countries. Right now, what we are doing is globalization. We are on a screen in ourselves. This is what they call globalization. A global world, a global community where everybody is connected. That's globalization. But what about the negative aspect of this globalization to Africans? What are those disadvantages of this globalization to Africans? We should carefully look at it, that globalization says that since we are all connected, no nation is can fully be to himself self-sufficient. There is no self-sufficiency in every nation. That every nation must depend on the next nation. The superpowers have used that means because they have capital to import the capital, to export the capital from Europe to Africa in order to carry out easy exploitation. When I say capital here, capital doesn't really mean money. Capital has to do with company, can be machine, can be technology. These things are capital. But in layman's understanding, capital simply means wealth set aside for the production of more wealth. Now, these capitals are being transferred from Europe, from America to Africa to create more wealth, not for the progress of Africans, but for the progress and development of the Europeans. That's why I say that the processes that led to the underdevelopment of Africa were the same processes that facilitated the development and the growth of Europe, Asia, and America. Check closely, they are coming with their capital. And now we are in the capital stage called globalization, whereby they tell us to liberalize our economy for them. That's so these are the factors that have contributed to the underdevelopment and the backwardness of Africa. And another thing that I forgot to say, fine, we are blaming the Europeans for this and that. They invaded us, they did this and they did that. But the point still stands that we have problem. I'm also making a point. The point stands that we have a lot of work. We have leaders who are dancing to the political music of their former colonial masters. Time for us to understand that when we are together as one African and change, it doesn't need to be a violent, radical social revolution. That start from a social revolution, just like we are now, trying to enlighten our audience and our viewers. We come together and understand that we must do ourselves. Fine, Africans, we have brought ourselves out. I am talking about Africa. I want to say something before I shut down. I have brought my fellow Africans. I have lied to my fellow Africans. I have brought my fellow Africans. But I put it myself that my responsibility of Africa and think about it. That is the only way I think universe for any wrong I have done to my own African brother. Only to we are brothers that South Africa to stop it. You have to see, you have to stop it. It's not something you must do. They are laughing at us, they are calling us fools. We don't have sense. I am saying I'm sorry for using this language, but the point is that we have to be rational. You are killing your fellow African. And the same African will travel to Europe, they will kill him. Another group of people will kill him. You will go to Europe, you will see your fellow Africans, you will not cooperate. You will be taking up your shoulder. Probably because you have high level of finance more than him, or you are there more than him. Things that are not mental slavery. Because we have to love ourselves. That is the beginning. If we don't love ourselves, everything we are doing here to enlighten and to liberate our consciousness from the ancient lies we have told will not come into reality. It's as if I am wasting my time, wasting my data, and you also, you're wasting your data viewing it, and the organizers of this show, they are wasting their data. Everything we are doing, we want us to love ourselves, because historians have said that when they want to destroy Africa, they first of all destroy that which is wrong. So they have to destroy that which we love so much. And what is that? Our culture, our tradition, our connectedness, our togetherness. Okay? They have to what? Poison it. So an African doesn't trust an African. An African cannot defend his brother. An African cannot stand for his brother. An African will run. I cannot save that my brother. He has a particular character. So we have to wake up to understand that we are one. That is the only way we can start solving our problem. That is the only way we can break from the shackles of mental slavery. Because we are downgrading ourselves every day. We are downgrading ourselves. We have to start solving ourselves. So I will end my words here. I want to say I'm going to speak for the topic.
Thank you very much, Precious. Hello.
There is one thing I want to add.
Yes.
For me to be on this program, this particular program and the last one, not really by my own thinking. It is the effort. And I want to mention someone who has so much effort to make sure that the people get to the level. Soteya is father. Soteya and the friend, uncle, father again, I call him Lynda, made everything. I want
I can't hear you now. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah, try to put the microphone near you.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
In the aspect of still on Lord Mayor, I want the world to know that yes, racism can, can be in white, but that is how they have described it, that every white person is racist. That there's this iota, there's this atom, there's this drop of hate against black. Everybody has personal experience. In that you have your experience white. So you also have your experience white. I also have my experience white. Now, we are not teaching this history to hate white people. We are not teaching this history to have supremacy over another race of people. No. We are only teaching this history to tell the world that they should accept Africans, that we are not disease of this world, that we are not the virus, the infection of this world. We have also contributed immensely to the growth and development of humanity. That is the reason why we are not teaching religious hatred, religious sentiment, hate. No, we are only telling you how it is historically. If we say that the Africans had a high spiritual system before the existence of Christianity, it doesn't mean that we are saying that your religion is evil or bad. We are only saying that there is a historical process, there is a spirituality. We are only saying that you should also take the opportunity to research elaborately, research deeply. Society should be open, not where when one person speaks, it creates phobia in the next person that it will not degenerate to hatred. Africans love ourselves. That's where I will drop the mic.
Thank you very much, Heru. As we move towards the conclusion, I want to make a few observations before I invite my sister Lynda to make a submission on this. Two things or three. Number one, from what you have said, rightly so, we are looking at this history to determine how it has affected our present situation. Because without knowing this history, without knowing what we have missed in our education system, we shall move as blind people going to play soccer, going to play football. And there's not much we can do in the play field without appreciating where we come from, without appreciating who we are. That's why personally I take history very important. That's why personally I took time to appreciate our own history as humanity. And when I talk about history, I don't talk about African history. I talk about human history. The history of the human species. Because we are one species, we are one family. We are the human species. We come in different shades. We come as Caucasians, as Africans, as Asians, as whatever. But we remain one species. We remain the Homo sapiens. We remain the human beings. So it's important that we appreciate the history of humankind, but also to understand how this history was distorted by a few politicians, a few supremacists. That's why when you talk about this history, it should be divorced from racism. It should be divorced from promoting hate. It should be taken from a context of power struggle, from a context of imperialism, from a context of colonialism, that the conqueror, your colonizer, does not want you to know your history. Because if you know that you are able to make a gun, you are able to make a ship, you are able to provide your own food before they corrupted your system, you will go back and find where you got lost. Because what the colonizer wanted to do was to colonize you, not to help you. There's no wonder I'm going to credit whoever colonized Uganda that they helped us. They never helped us. They never helped us. Yes, I'm in Europe, but I'm telling you that the colonizer never helped my country. In fact, my country helped the colonizer. That's my thinking. Because we had our own education system, which they never brought back as they taught us what they wanted us to know. We had our own religious system. We had our own governance system. Now, everything about our own culture was demonized. But I told you, why was it demonized? Why was it taken as if it was barbaric, as if it was satanic? Because it was the only way to control your mindset. If you told the Shaka Zulu men that actually you could win a war using spears, that actually you could win a war using the Ashagai spears, they were a way of fighting. And we know that they won battles, including winning the Dutch and the Boers. And we know that in history, the Ethiopians defeated the Italians using their own ways of fighting. We know that if people were left with their history intact, they would have fought the colonizer. So the colonizer had to write a book of history that favored him, that showed his supremacy, that showed his medicine, that showed his technology. Even when some of it had been borrowed from Africa, they never told those facts because it didn't favor them. This is what you, Precious, you are saying. This is what historians have been saying. And this is what we are saying on this platform, that we need to let people know that whoever brought you religion, whoever brought you history and economics, was a person above you in terms of hierarchy. He was your colonizer. He was your master. There's no way he could teach you how strong you were because you would use it against him. So we want people to appreciate where we come from. Today, when people look at the West is beyond Europe. Today, even Asia, China is becoming a powerhouse in Africa. Don't need to forget China is becoming a powerhouse in Africa. India is selling us their own medicine as if we never had our own medicine, as if we don't have medical scientists in Africa. India is selling almost 60% of the medicine we use in Uganda. So when you talk about these things, it's not about Europe alone. It's a big thing. It's the power econometrics at play. It's people coming into Africa to take over, to take the resources, to take the wealth. We need to examine why is it that in countries like Zimbabwe, in Zambia, mines, the so-called experts are all elsewhere beyond Africa. Yet the same Africans are the one doing the arduous work. The serious, tough work is done by Africans, but again, you are calling a certain kinds of people expatriates. How come that when Chinese come to build roads in Africa, the hard work is done by African laborers, but the credit is given to the Chinese? These are things we need to examine when you look at our history, and why people must take it so important to know that this is a psychological warfare. This is what, Heru, I picked from your book. This is what I picked from my research. This is what Lynda has been talking about over the years we have been doing this kind of activism, that people must be empowered to know that when you are going to worship a God that tells you to stay the entire day in church, other people elsewhere are working. That actually the God you worship today was brought and sold to Shaka Zulu and his men, to the king of Buganda and his men, and they surrendered because they had got a savior. They forgot to protect themselves and took on a savior of an occupier. How could an occupier give you his savior? How could an occupier say, your savior is bad, yet your savior had saved you for all those generations? So this platform is used to promote that kind of consciousness, that kind of awareness. We want to awaken people to know the games that people play for power, for economic gain, that no one is basically looking out for you. No one is concerned for your welfare as people. People are concerned about power and wealth, power and resources. So we need to put this into play, moving forward, empowering people in Africa to know that the Chinese, the Europeans, the Americans, the Russians, when they come to Africa, they don't come to help you. Linda knows that. Ebenezer knows that. They don't come to help you. They come to help themselves. So when you have leaders who don't appreciate global economics, who don't appreciate history, who don't appreciate geopolitics, they are going to sell everything to benefit other countries at the detriment of Africa. So this is why this history becomes important, to awaken people, to demand what belongs to them, to step up and know they can make medicines in Africa. Because Himutep and others did so, to know that they can actually have proper governance systems, that they have their own traditional ways of worship, instead of worshiping Allah, who is an imposition, instead of worshiping Jesus, who is a political tool to control mindset. This is why this kind of information is important. Our work is to awaken people, not to create hate, not to promote racism, but to create a balance in knowledge, to awaken the sleeping conscious, to make it more empowered and help our people move forward, appreciating the dynamics of yesterday and how they have shaped today. Heru, I want to pass it back to you. But before that, I want to pass it back to Linda. Linda, I've made my closing submission. I want to pass it back to you for your own submission, and then we shall conclude this for yet another show. You are muted.
Can you hear me
You are
now?
muted. Yeah.
But you can hear me now? Okay.
Yes, we can.
So tonight has been fun and games on my side because we have a large wedding in my area, and the wedding's only got on for a few days, you know, so it's fine. There's music and singing and cheering and dancing, but the sun is filtering through, so I had to keep listening. I had all my cats coming to say hello, all my street cats. I've had the cat being co-host for a little bit. I couldn't hear Ebenezer, he sounded like he was underwater the whole time. I think that Nigerian, I really didn't hear anything that Ebenezer was saying. So I've just kind of gone on a recap. So, but what I'm just saying is that it's very important that we get our real history out. And we also need to stop calling us conspiracy theorists from that when we can't tell things that are actually real. I always say to people, before you come with your accusations, research your own history, speak to people. And the wonderful thing is that we've got our oral history here, so we can still talk to. I've made friends with a lot of people in Nigeria who tell me things that their grandparents and great-grandparents have witnessed, which has enabled me to learn so much more about my continent, plus with the oral history that I have. and with friends I speak to in other countries as well. And it's been amazing to hear, if I say speak to someone in Malawi,
Lynda, you are breaking. We can't hear you. Lynda, you are breaking. We can't hear you.
hear about
Lynda, you are breaking. We can't hear you. You are breaking.
what was happening there during the pre-colonization and
Lynda, you are breaking. At least I can't hear you. Even Precious can't hear you. Lynda, you are breaking. You need to adjust your network. I understand it can be a challenge.
do you know what the problem is? Everybody in Africa tonight is watching the football.
Yeah.
So they are all watching the football online, and that's why. I've just been into my daughter and her boyfriend. They're all watching football. So I'm blaming all you guys in Africa that are watching football. Because you're scrambling out we can't get internet. I went in there now, they're not watching the show, they're watching flipping football. Goodness me. So anyway, I don't know what the problem is, but my son, my daughter's boyfriend, they've all got different devices on watching, so I don't know whether that's why the feed is scrambled.
It's okay, we can continue, Lynda. We have 4 minutes to close this show.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly say that it's so important that we get to learn our history. The history that we are taught in our schools is a complete lie. The black race is the original race, the most civilized race. Africa is the most wealthiest continent. We are the second largest continent in the world. We have countries like Uganda. Uganda is the entire
Lynda,
we are. Hey, I'm going to have a complaint with Pantami for scrambling our feet this time. My goodness.
It's okay, we're concluding, Lynda. You are concluding as we go.
So, I'm telling you, as a white-born African, 8th generation of white family on this continent, that the black race has always been the most amazing, incredible race that civilized the rest of the world and discovered all these continents. We were not the primitive, wild, barbaric race that they make the black African people out to be. That was done for a reason, and you need to look at world history and the future, and our mineral wealth on this continent alone is what everybody is after, and we are kept suppressed so that the West cannot survive without Africa. They need us more than we need them, because we've got all the mineral wealth which they need for industry and that. But we are kept suppressed so that we don't know what's going on. If we really knew what great, amazing people the black African race is, and there is a definite, and I have written about it, I call it what I'm witnessing, what I've witnessed my whole life, even the history with the slave trade right up before that, is the genocide of the black African race. I firmly believe that is what is happening. It's the genocide of the black African race. They're trying to eliminate the black race so that they can take over the whole of this continent. And China is a very, very real threat. And we need to wake up and start working together and realize that it doesn't matter race, religion, irreligion, different tribes, different countries. We've got to start uniting together. The black African race is a highly evolved, highly intelligent race of people. I would just say to every single black person watching this tonight, rise up off your knees, find out your history and learn what amazing people you really are. You can't carry on being the underdogs. You are just as good, just as clever, just as capable, and just as worthy. And stop teaching your children, even subconsciously, that they're not as good and they're not going to ever do as well in life. We have the potential and the humanity as people to be world leaders and to take control back of our continent. It is not our destiny to live in poverty and war and hunger. We really need to start standing up and realizing that this is the continent of kings and queens and the most amazing people that have given us so much of what Africa invented and developed has been stolen by the West as their ideas. We would never have even had the Industrial Revolution if not for Black Africans. So I'm really urging people, we are not conspiracy theorists, we are not evil people from some devil that none of us believe in, that are trying to do whatever. No, we are just honest African people telling you the truth. And I can tell you my truth from a white colonial background, and Ebenezer can tell you his truth from his research that he's done. And Kato, you can also, with all your history that you've got from Uganda. And we need to stand together and start saying, we can't all be wrong from different walks of life with different experiences. Anything that Precious says, I can back up in a different way and just rising up as the amazing African people that we are. So that would be my message that I could just put out there, Kato.
That was a great message there, Linda. That was a great message there, Linda. And I can't agree with you more. You nailed it. You nailed it. Especially the importance of unity. Especially
Yes.
the importance of cultivating that subconsciousness, that conscious awareness within the people in Africa to know that they can do as much good as all those people elsewhere in the world, to stop looking at other continents, to stop looking at other people elsewhere to be their own solutions. To me, I think that is the best message we need all to hear. Linda, I don't worry about this World Cup because I know it will go. I know that our show is seen even after this time. It is seen for weeks. It is shared for weeks. I know that people always find this message as long as the message is there. I want to thank Ebenezer for your contribution. It was awesome. And I want to say we are going to have you after hosting Todd Mayer. We shall be hosting our colleague Todd Mayer, who is going to walk us through the history of America or the US, but also looking at it from the religious point of view. And we look at how America has been able to contribute to that kind of religiosity to the rest of the world, but also how it has affected the country itself and the global economics and politics. We shall be hosting Ted Mayer next weekend. But then after that, we shall be having Precious back. We shall continue having Precious back for some more episodes so that we can be able to continue learning together, sharing together. But importantly, as Linda has said, because we want our people to consciously be awake, be alive to the fact that we all can do better. Whether we are in Africa or in Europe or in the US, we have as much capabilities as everyone.
Absolutely.
Linda, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. Again, I'm
Thanks,
going to turn
Kato.
it back to you. Precious, in a minute, your parting shot. Precious, in a minute, your parting shot. I can't hear you. Precious, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
I said earlier, unity is very paramount in this process. Unity is very paramount, and you have stressed on it so much. I have also done. And if Africans can come together and form the unity, then what we are doing is their life. Unity, we understand that it's an intellectual revolution that we need to impact in ourselves and to carry out major change. Because it's only Africans that can save Africa. only Africans that can save Mother Earth.
Yes,
So
it's true.
I have, I have, I have, I don't have much to say, but I want to lastly encourage those who are watching this program or who are following us their research. You don't need to have a degree or a certificate in history for you to know the history of Pakistan, for you to know the history of Kemet, for you to know the history of Ethiopia, for you to know the history of Benin. You have to start doing your research. We have to start studying our own, our story, and we have to say it out. We have to tell the world because Africans have done great things for the first white people, which we have seen in our last episode. We have analyzed on how the Europeans came to study and how they thought black was our gods, our goddess, which topic we are going to speak later on. Worship there in Europe. So they thought black was beautiful. So just recently they started black. So Africans must unite, must love ourselves. You're in Europe, you're in America, you're in Australia, you see your black brother, you see your African brother, stand by him, defend him, love him. Because if we hate ourselves in their presence, if we show that bitterness, that mischievous character towards the other Africans, if so they will not respect us. They will still have the power to keep us stagnant. So unity is very paramount, and that's what we
Lynda, back to you for conclusion. Thank you very much, Heru, and see you when we see you again.
Yes, I just want to say, so next week we're going to be having Todd Mayer on our show, who is an American atheist, and he is going to be speaking to us about the, as we all know, there are so many African Americans that are descendants of slaves from the transatlantic slave trade, and we're going to be looking at our African history from the other side of the world now, with that perspective in mind as well, and connecting with African American people who have the same the same truth. There's a lot more awareness being done with private organizations and that overseas in America to make Black people aware of their incredible cultural history and heritage. And I just want to say, I don't think that we must stop seeing the West as some kind of a god that gives our blessing for everything and lusting after the West. Kato, I have this huge issue with our Black African women that are always straightening their hair and lightening their skin. And why on earth would you want to look like me when you've got so much of your own natural beauty? Why on earth? So we really need to take stock here, and we really need to start saying to ourselves, we don't need to follow other people, and we don't need to copy them and wait for them to set the trends and for them to. We need to own ourselves as African people and come up with our own new identity of who we have become as people. Our whole history has been messed up. We are all places we shouldn't be because we've had land taken and people chased off land that have been made into national parks, and people have been displaced into other countries, and there's all sorts of issues that stem back to that time. We can't change the past, but we can change the future. And I know that no one I know, no good-hearted person wants what we've got now in Africa. We want something better. We don't want war. We don't want anger and vindictiveness and war against other continents. We just want to live peacefully. None of us are after huge amounts of wealth or anything. We just want our Africa back for our people. And I think we need to come out with our own identity as Africans, and we are the ones that can still go out there and set the trends and work together with the rest of the world, inventing and achieving great things. And I think just to end, to just say that, no, the West is not coming to save us. God is not coming to save us. We have been forced to follow a fake God and worship that God instead of worshiping ourselves and each other. Instead of putting faith in your fellow man, we've been forced to put faith in a supernatural being, and it's done us absolutely no good. All the good work you see being done in Africa has not been done by God. It's been done by people with their own two hands and their own money, providing food and help to people. And I just want to say, as I always do, I'm like a stuck record, the West is not coming to save Africa. God is not coming to save Africa. Only we can save each other and ourselves and collectively the African continent. Nobody is going to have as much love for a continent or her people than the people that actually live there, whose continent it is. So no one else, everyone else is out for themselves. And the majority of the Western world are all to do with money and material things. We are not like that as African people. So you can't think that people that have huge material interests and that are going to ever put our needs first. And we see it ourselves with what's happening here now. If we open our eyes, we can see what's going on around us. So I'm just saying we need to unite together and realize that we are each other's saviors, and we can only do that by reaching out to each other and embracing each other. And like I always say, at the end of the day, it comes down to two things. It doesn't matter who you are, your education level, your wealth, the color of your skin, your country.
Linda, you are getting scrambled as we conclude. You are getting scrambled. We are losing you.
More good than evil in Africa. I've lived in Africa all my life. I've lived in 3 different countries. I've traveled all around Africa. And every single country I've ever been to, they are the same kind of wonderful, wonderful people that have never met each other, but are all exactly the same. And I'm just saying, we have much more good in Africa than bad. And we just have to unite together as a force of good to overcome the bad. And we can only do that by starting to call each other brothers and sisters and not foreigners. Because we're not foreigners, we're neighbors. So that would be my message tonight, is that
what a wonderful,
I would wish for Africa.
What a wonderful way of concluding the show, Linda. And I will repeat your own words. No one is coming to save you, Africa. Everyone wants something from you. No one but yourself. You will be able to move forward by knowing that everything must be within your own making. If you look at the skydad, if you look at the big gods to save you, if you look at people in West Asia, US, to come and save your economies, to come and save your agriculture systems, to come and solve your political problems, forget about development, forget about good education, forget about progress, because no one is there for you. No one is going to save you. As Linda normally puts it, you save yourselves, we save ourselves. Thank you so much for the show. It was wonderful having you today.
Thanks, guys. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ebenezer.
With Todd Mayer. Thank you, Ebenezer Precious Heru, for being our wonderful host tonight. Thank you, Dennis Bongole, for being our admin.
Thanks, Dennis. I know we've had issues from Uganda with electricity tonight as well. I think it's because there's an overload on the whole continent because everyone's watching.
Yes. So we sign out. Bye-bye. We sign out. Bye-bye.
It's like an escape from the daily life of hunger and stress. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next